This is my 1997 Toyota Tacoma Mini Truck that I shipped over 2,500 miles away from my home in Utah to try and test out a theory that I've had for about 10 years. A few days ago, I hopped on a plane and flew across the country to a small town on the coast of Maine, where I met up with my mini truck and my younger brother Mark to see if my idea can pay off.
Hey guys, so welcome back to LT's channel. For those of you who don't remember me, my name's Mark. I live out here in Maine. I am LT's younger, better looking, more charming, sophisticated younger brother. So anyway, LT's coming out to visit, and he decided to ship his little mini truck out here to Maine. So while he's out here, he's gonna drive it around, bomb it around, we'll get some time on it. Enjoy the good fuel mileage that the truck has to offer. So I'll show you guys some film of this thing getting unloaded, and hopefully it made it all in one piece, safe and sound. There they go. On to the next one.
Here on the coast of Maine, where I grew up, the number one problem facing any vehicle is rust. The minute it touches down in the state here and starts driving around, especially in the wintertime, it just becomes attacked. Now, we live right on the water, so of course there's a bunch of salt in the ocean. It's very humid here. And then of course in the wintertime, we get a lot of snow. So to help keep the roads safe and keep ice and stuff off of the road, basically they put salt down, they put sand down, and of course they have this new liquid calcium stuff which basically melts right through the ice, but it pretty much melts right through the metal on your car as well. Now, my very first truck that I bought and kind of customized was a 76 Chevy C10. I paid $300 for it. Luckily it was a very clean example, but still, for the first couple years that I owned that truck, the only thing I did was just fix rust, and nearly every panel on the truck had to be replaced. Rocker panels, floor, the bed floor, the bed sides, the fenders, the hood, pretty much everything had rust and rot. But like I said, it was one of the cleaner examples. Now, I spent a lot of effort and energy repairing that truck and painting it and getting it to where I thought it was kind of presentable. But a little bit after I turned 18 and graduated high school, I packed up and I moved across the country, and I lived in Idaho. And as soon as I touched down in Idaho, the first thing that I noticed was rust was pretty much non-existent. One of the first cars that I bought out there was a 1988 Chevy K2500. You know, the light duty, so I had the 14-bolt semi-floater. It was an extended cab short box, the classic OBS Chevy. And that truck underneath was mint. I mean, not a bit of rust on the frame. The bodywork is in all perfect condition. And if that truck had spent its life in Maine, it would have been in a junkyard long ago. But, 25, 30 years later, it was still on the road out west. So as soon as I saw that, I had an idea. So I'm actually staying in the town of Owl's Head, which is just it's a little spot down on the coast. This is not where I originally grew up and was born and raised. That was Waldoboro, just a few towns over. But the reason why we've come here, by the way, shout out, this is the Mid-Coast School of Technology, the VOTEC. That's where I actually painted my C10 back in high school. Mr. Chapels, if you're watching this, learned a lot from you, buddy. Thank you so much. But anyway, yeah, we're staying in Owl's Head right now. I'm in the Tacoma. We are headed to West Rockport. That's where my dad's shop is. And we're going to go hang out for a little bit. I'm going to get Mark. I think we'll go for a drive. There's a few other cool trucks that he wants to show me and stuff like that. But the main reason why we're here, not sure if I said this yet, is we're actually going to a wedding. Mark is getting married, or rather he did get married. Today's Monday. That was over the weekend. But we shipped the Tacoma out so we could try this experiment that I've had for a while. Oops, I need to turn here. By the way, I am totally unprepared to make this video because I knew I wanted to make it when I left Utah, and I did not bring any of my camera gear with me, so I'm doing this all on my phone. But anyway, we're headed to get Mark. We're gonna just hang out for a little bit because I don't get to see him all that often, and then we'll bring him along for a ride, I think. if I show people your Suburban?
Go ahead.
You know,
you got my permission.
So we're doing this whole thing about rust and not rust, and
this one's a beauty. Doesn't have any rust, minimal mileage, no exposure to winter time.
how long? Tell them how long your Suburban's been in Maine.
Well, its whole life. It's an 05. It's now got 247,000 miles on it, and I'm pretty sure it's seen its last rotation of the odometer.
What do you say it was an 05?
05. Yeah. So it's been in Maine its whole life.
All right, so we got to go check this out, guys, because Mark's Suburban is like what, 7-8 years older or newer rather than the Toyota. Almost the same exact mileage, but let's go check out the rust. It's a nice looking truck.
Looks great from this angle.
And the one cool thing about that you notice the difference between our stuff and his stuff is look how nice the paint looks. I mean, yeah, I know he had the hood changed and repainted, but up on the roof, like the paint is in mint condition, except when you get down. You said you had these replaced?
Yes, these are replaced. I did this myself. So I actually replaced these, probably about 4 years ago, and they're already showing some pretty serious signs of coming through again. So look at this right here. This is the wheel wells. I've been patching this thing for a long time, and I finally got to the point where I just can't. I sticker all my vehicles myself. I'm a licensed inspection technician. It's getting to the point now where I can't really safely drive this thing. So the quarters, they're completely gone. Those got to be changed out. If someone were to keep this vehicle on the road, which it's not worth it at this point. All of this has been bondoed once, probably twice. So it's getting to the point. Oh, look at this. So this is the bumper. As you can see, we're getting some pretty serious rust through here, guys.
What side did you put the frame on?
So on the passenger side,
Oh.
actually no, excuse me, it was right here. You can probably see it from right down here. So I had to actually take, right here, this is my frame patch. So I actually had to patch in, this was all rusted through. Look at the rockers on this one. Look how bad these are.
These haven't been done yet?
No, these are original rockers for 09, and they're in hard shape.
So, let's go out to Utah and send you back a couple of trucks. What do you think?
All right, let's do it.
So you guys might be kind of picking up on what my plan is, but if you live in the eastern United States, you know how much of a pain in the butt rust can be. You know how many hours you got to spend repairing it, and you know how hard it is to find a classic, quote unquote, vehicle. I mean, obviously now the 1990s is, you know, in some cases 30 years ago, but you know how hard it can be to find a cool project vehicle that is solid and rust free. Like all the popular stuff, you know, the Chevy trucks, the Ford trucks, all that, if it spent its life in Maine or on the eastern seaboard, is gonna be rusted and rotted, just like some of the stuff that we showed you. So my plan, ever since I moved to Idaho back in the day, what if we could ship some cool vehicles back across the country? Would there be a market for it? Would people who live in Maine and, you know, New Hampshire and Massachusetts and those places want to buy something that was rust-free just because you don't have to spend all that time fixing rust? Which, believe me, I've been there. My old C10, I spent so much time and effort just replacing rusty body panels, where instead I would have rather been doing, you know, things like lowering the suspension or doing an engine swap. So that was my grand plan, and since we had the strip coming up, I figured the perfect chance to test out the plan would be ship the Tacoma from one side of the country to the other. All right, Mark, where are you taking us?
All right, Lawrence, so I got a good buddy of mine. He's got himself a pretty fast little pickup, and rumor has it that it is all-wheel drive. So we're gonna go investigate and see what this thing has to offer, and maybe it'll give you some good ideas what you can do with yours.
I like all-wheel drive. Let's check it out.
SRT wheels and everything, and it looks like the Challenger, the Charger valence in the front kind of. It's custom. It looks awesome.
The truck that Mark took me to go see was actually a third-gen Ram he's been telling me about for a very long time. And the reason why I was so excited to go check it out is because it actually shares a lot in common with the Copo truck that I've put together here out in Utah. This one's an all-wheel drive, full-time setup, you know, supercharged LS 4L80 all-wheel drive combo, where Phil's truck is actually a turbocharged LS, and it's also all-wheel drive, which is really cool. So he started with just a regular 4-wheel drive, 3rd gen Ram. He took out, I don't know if it was a Hemi or I don't know if it was a V6 or whatever it was, but he took out the original motor, stuffed in a 6-liter at first, and then he swapped over to the 408 stroker. It's got twin, I think he said 62 millimeter turbos on it. And because it was a 4-wheel drive truck, just like the couple truck here was, he had the ability to convert it over to all-wheel drive, except the difference is he used a transfer case I've only read about, never seen in person, or never ridden in a vehicle equipped with. He used a GM NP242. Now this transfer case was originally used in like Cherokees and stuff like that in the early 90s, but GM also adapted it to work with their H1 military Hummers. And the reason why this transfer case is so intriguing to me is because it has several different drive modes. It has a 4 low, it has a 4 high, and a 2 high, just like a traditional regular old transfer case. But it also has a center differential, and I'm not sure what type of differential it is, but from what I've read online, it has a 48-52 torque split.
So, doesn't take much to make it spin.
No. Meaning it's basically all-wheel drive. It does have a true center differential, which makes it perfect for, doing Hoonigan type stuff, burnouts and launches and all that good stuff. And you can just leave it in the all-wheel drive mode, quote unquote, just like I do with the couple truck here, except of course there's no shifting with this particular case. But Phil's truck, he can actually shift it into 2-wheel drive. It's got a 408 stroker under the hood. Originally it was a 6-liter twin 62 turbos, 4L80 in the middle, and I believe he said it will do a low or almost dead even 7-second 1/8 mile pass, which is really awesome. It's quite a bit quicker than the Copo truck that we've put together here. I think 950 horsepower, something like that is what his truck's putting down. But the coolest thing about it, if you guys know 3rd and 4th gen Dodge trucks, like look at the front end of this thing, because he grafted in 4th gen headlights, and to do that he actually had to basically cut a 4th gen fender in half and kind of blend it together with a 3rd gen fender. It's got a 4th gen bumper, and he spent a whole lot of time just kind of grafting the two front ends together to make it look factory, which you got to stare at it for 5 or 10 minutes just to kind of pick out all the little subtle changes that he made. And there's probably a few that I'm forgetting about. But anyway, it is a really cool, awesome truck, turbocharged LS and all-wheel drive. I just got a kick out of it, and I had to share it with you guys.
My grand plan in a nutshell, after having lived out west in Utah and Idaho for so many years, seeing all these rust-free cars, I decided it's finally time to ship one across the country and see if there's any value in selling it here on the East Coast, on the edge of Maine, where stuff rusts out in pretty much no time. So we've got ourselves a rust-free Toyota Tacoma, and yeah, I get it, it's not like the coolest or most desirable vehicle of all time. If it were a 4-wheel drive, for example, I think it could have sold a little bit better. And maybe if it wasn't lowered with these Mustang wheels on there, maybe it would have a little bit more mass appeal. But this is a proof of concept. I mean, if this truck were here from day one, those rocker panels would be gone. But instead, look how solid and clean it is underneath the truck. So if it does sell, awesome. If it does not sell, we'll figure out a plan B. Maybe we'll do like a engine swap and cross-country road trip. Maybe we'll do a drift truck. I don't know. I don't really want to move it again at this point, because it did cost a couple of bucks to ship it out here, but we were planning on coming out here anyway. We had a wedding to go to. It was good to see family, and it's kind of like a rental car that you can drive around, except it's your own. But yeah, mainly it was a proof of concept of an idea that I've had for at least the last 10 or 15 years. And if it does work, great. I'm definitely going to do it again, but probably with a more desirable vehicle, something like an OBS Chevy or a GMT 800 Chevy, or maybe an older F-150. Those pickup trucks are very popular around here, and I feel like if I could find one that's rust-free and ship it back, I feel like that would sell in a heartbeat. Thank you guys for watching. Unfortunately, I cannot give you the conclusion or the grand finale to this story just yet, because I'm only going to be in town for another couple of days, but I'm leaving the truck with my brother Mark. He's going to be the one that'll handle the sale and the transaction and the advertisement and all that good stuff. And whenever it does sell, I'll be the first one to let you guys know exactly how it turned out, how much we got for it, and if it was profitable or not, because let's face it, at this point, I've probably spent way too much money on this truck, but that's okay. I think this will be a fun experiment to do. So thank you guys for watching. I think the next video we'll probably be back home in Utah, but thanks for watching. Come back soon.
Check out those bold body dynamics. Elegant, but functional. Industrial. New wave interior, complete with an instrument panel, a shifter, a steering wheel, and I think there's even a radio. Upgrade to the finest in powertrain, drivability, creature comforts, and style. Don't miss out on this opportunity to own one of the finest pickups Detroit ever manufactured. Or, I don't know where these were made, but somewhere manufactured.